Star Wars, saying it would violate the existing anti-ballistic missile treaty and would take the arms race into space. But it was the presence of Sakharov and the new openness, the freeing of nearly 150 other dissidents, that played a major role in the forum and was underlined by the Soviet leader.
We want a broad democratization of all of society. Further democratization is also a main guarantee of the irreversible nature of the ongoing process. We want more socialism and hence more democracy.
Gorbachev said the new openness was developing because it was good for the Soviet Union and not to please the West.
I was extremely struck by the fact that we were not invited to agree with our hosts, nor with each other, but we were asked to obey our instincts and feelings and common feeling for humanity and the necessity for its survival.
That was apparently the message the Soviet Union wanted the participants to take home. Stan Bernard, NBC.
The Soviet Union was joined at the conference by fellow scientists, religious leaders, and other artists from 80 countries. All were there at the invitation of Sakharov's one-time enemy, Soviet leader Gorbachev. The leader used the occasion to once again lash out at U.S. persistence of the Star Wars issue, not to make new arms control proposals, as some U.S. officials had speculated. But Gorbachev did discuss a subject not anticipated, the lightening up of Soviet policy towards human rights.
We want a broad democratization of all of society. Further democratization is also a main guarantee of the irreversible nature of the ongoing process. We want more socialism and hence more democracy.
That statement drew applause from Sakharov and others at the peace conference. The Soviets have been quick to point out that their loosening the reins on human rights comes not from pressure from Western governments. Earlier today, I spoke with a high-ranking official at the Soviet embassy in Washington. He told me that his government's change in human rights policy is part of an overall Soviet reform. What pressure was it that caused the Soviets to loosen?
Oh, there is no pressure. Our society is developing, and we want to make it a better society. And we feel that in the overall program of economic, political, cultural transformation, of making our society better, more modern, more vigorous, democratization is to play a very important role.
Churkin stressed the democratization includes immigration reform and prisoner release, but those are not the main focus of the change in Russia. Nathan?
Well, Emily, even as Gorbachev and his ambassadors were talking about a new approach to human rights, word that Soviet dissident Joseph Begun isn't free at all surfaced. The Hebrew teacher's wife tonight says a Soviet leader told her her husband is still in a jail near Moscow. Hopes were raised for his release yesterday when a Soviet spokesman said on a national news program that Begun was freed. Meanwhile, relatives of Begun in the United States are under arrest tonight in New York City. After his wife called them from the Soviet Union with the bad news, they staged a demonstration outside the Soviet mission to the United Nations. The group was joined by friends and rabbis in its protest. One-time Soviet dissident David Goldfarb, who now lives in the United States, says tonight he's cautious but hopeful the Soviet government is easing its policy on dissent.
My feeling is that in the Soviet Union started the new time, and maybe it is a start of the liberalization. But question is...
From exercises in the morning to a KGB spy series at night, it's television Soviet style. And we'll be tuning in tonight. Good evening, I'm Ted Koppel, and this is Nightline. Broadcasting to 275 million people over 11 time zones, Soviet television is sometimes predictably heavy-handed. Sometimes charmingly unpredictable.